The following presentation is controversial and may be offensive to some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Jim, and this is Revolutionary Hotel Energy Saving Strategies. Today we'll be talking about how you can get that done for your hotel without any investment and without saddling yourself with any debt whatsoever. Now, I know that sounds like a pretty outrageous claim, but if you stick with me here, I'm going to walk you through step by step exactly how you can get that accomplished. So, we're not much for fanfare, so if you're ready, we're ready. Why don't we just dive right in and talk about who is this webinar for? Well, this is for anybody who is a hotel or maybe a hospitality business owner, director, and even financial officer who wants to actually lower the amount of money they spend on energy every single month and put all that money back into their business. So if you're sick and tired of spending more than you think you need to for your energy services to run your hotel, well, you're going to get a lot out of this webinar. This is specifically designed just for you. And in the next 45 minutes, we're going to challenge, dispel, explode, and basically eliminate all of the myths and lies about how you're paying for energy that you use every single month. It's actually going to surprise you. We're going to also give you a step-by-step process to dramatically reduce your energy costs, but without having you to spend a single penny out of your own pocket. We're also going to reveal the specific method about how you can immediately see financial returns from an energy overhaul for your hotel without having to wait years or even waiting months to see tangible savings. How you can forever remove the headaches of trying to keep up with energy consumption demands that just nickel and dime your bottom line. We'll also talk about how you're paying for your current prices for water, electricity, laundry, gas. All of those are just basically a quick path to a pauper's grave. We're going to show you what really works in today's environment and how you can do all of this while finally feeling good about the entire process, even if you've just about given up on thinking that there was actually any logical or feasible solution that was going to help you. This very well could be the most powerful 45 minutes of your entire year. So my promise to you is this is going to be a professional education session. We're going to reveal to you the exact steps that you can use to get the kind of results that we're talking about and going to show you today. So let's start off by getting an idea of what your current situation is. Tell me if this sounds anything like your current situation. Maybe you are still using non-LED lighting for your hotel, and you're doing it because you still think that upgrading is going to be too expensive. Maybe you've done some kind of energy audit, and the capital expenditure that you're going to need to handle those upgrades and make your hotel energy efficient is just way too much to put in your budget this year. Maybe you're not satisfied with your profit margins, and you really would finally like to get a logical and feasible solution to help improve that bottom line. Maybe you've become what we call a professional student. You're spending an inordinate amount of time studying all this energy efficiency stuff. You're just not actually putting anything into action. Maybe no one within your company is actually taking energy consumption seriously. They think this whole energy savings thing is just some kind of fad. Or maybe you're just not convinced that upgrading with energy efficient solutions is going to make any kind of real positive financial impact, or that it's just not worth the risk to do. Well, here's a disturbing truth. About 99.9% of what you currently know about energy solutions for your hotel are obsolete. I mean, think about it. The way you pay and use energy right now today is all based on processes that were created back when cars didn't even have seatbelts and on every corner you could find a payphone. Times have changed and those days are gone. Your obsolete energy infrastructure is based on technology that hasn't kept up with modern times. you're paying way, way too much for the energy that you use to run your hotel. But the problem is, no one's actually shown you a feasible option to lower these costs. Unless, of course, somehow you come up with some huge amount of upfront capital to pay for new equipment. Well, it doesn't have to be that way. Now, don't blame yourself for any of this, okay? It really isn't your fault. No one has ever showed you a logical, sensible, and affordable way to fix this. But if you keep doing what you've always done, you're just going to keep continuing to throw money right out the window like you always have been. Implementing any kind of new or upgraded energy solution, it just sounds like it's going to be something that's going to be very expensive, right? I mean, you're talking about new LED lighting, and you're talking about putting in maybe a generator. Maybe you're even thinking about solar panels. And when you think about it, all these things might not be expensive, but when you add them all up, they keep adding up. And finally, it gets to the point where you say, I don't know if I can even afford to do this. You think there has to be a better way. Well, we're going to show you what we believe is the better way. Well, before we do that, we should tell you a little bit about who we are. We are OUS Capital, and we are energy experts that have over 100 years of combined experience in this industry. We're the pioneers of the commercial energy savings industry, and we're on a mission. We are focused on trying to help as many businesses as we can put more money back into their bottom lines as opposed to sending it to the energy companies. We get results, period. Hotels with work with us experience dramatic decreases in their energy costs and at the same time see rapid increases in profits. And this doesn't happen by accident. When hotels follow our step-by-step process, they get these results without ever spending a dime out of their own pockets for any kind of equipment or upgrades. The only thing that they all had in common is that none of them were following any of the strategies we're going to give you today. But when they did, they saw incredible results. So no matter how ridiculous or even impossible any of this probably sounds right now, at one time, every hotel that is currently experiencing these greater profits, they also thought at one time that none of this would even be possible until it happened for them. So the bottom line here is there are energy strategies that you can use right now that will immediately lower the energy costs for your hotel, and they'll dramatically improve your profit margins. You can do it without any investment and without getting yourself into any kind of new debt, period. We're going to show you how you can do that right now. And so this is about putting more money back into your pocket. It's not about taking money out of it, okay? So grab a pen, grab a pad of paper, take some copious notes. Let's get started, okay? Let's talk about what today's proven strategies are for hotel energy success. It's about lowering your costs, getting you higher profits, and helping you have greater success. Isn't this what this is all about? So let's get going here. Hotel energy strategy number 1. You have to understand that energy services have evolved. I mean, let's face it. Every hotel owner or operator wants to grow their profits. But in order to successfully do that, you got to do one of two things. You either have to raise your revenues or you have to cut your costs. Those are your options. Well, energy costs are one of the biggest drains that you have on your profits. In fact, according to the US EPA, America's more than 47,000 hotels spend $7.5 billion a year on energy. And that translates to about an average of just about $2,200 per available room each and every year. That comes out to roughly about 6% of all operating costs. That's just for energy. Just a 10% energy savings from what you're paying right now can have the same financial effect as raising your average daily room rate by $1.41. I mean, think about that. That's just a 10% energy savings. What if you had 20%, 30%, 50%? This is not science fiction. This is happening right now. If you need more proof that this is actually going on, Since 2009, the Hilton Corporation has saved nearly $800 million simply by implementing a smart energy consumption program. Since 2011, it's estimated that Marriott has over 6,000 U.S. properties that have saved over $500 million just by upgrading to energy-efficient solutions. And as a matter of fact, since 2012, Motel 6 has saved more than $1.2 million just through having their employees being educated on how to properly manage and intelligently use their energy. That doesn't even include and doesn't even count what they've saved by upgrading their facilities. Hotel energy management is not a fad. It's just smart business. Savvy and smart business owners in this industry are seizing this as an opportunity to finally get their energy costs under control. And the thing is, all this energy cost stuff, well, it can be kind of frustrating, actually. I mean, finding the right energy solution, it's kind of a daunting task. Where do you turn? Who do you talk to? Well, it doesn't have to be a daunting task, because the secret of getting your share of all this energy savings bonanzas that are going on, well, it starts with realizing most of what you've been told about energy, it's just been flat out wrong. Think about the source of where you've been hearing about energy information. It's all coming from the utility companies. Well, the utility companies, they pulled a fast one. They give you the raw energy that you need. They give you the electricity, they give you the water, the gas. But here's the thing. It's all useless until you convert all that energy into amenities that your guests can use, like faucets and, converting them in through showers, turning the energy they give to you into actual heat or air conditioning, and etc. You only pay for what you use from the utility companies, but you're on your own to make sure it all gets used in the way you want it used within your hotel. Well, you're on your own. You have to buy, maintain, and upgrade all your own energy conversion devices at your own expense, and you have to do it forever. All the energy company is going to do is keep piping you the energy. It's up to you to figure out what to do with it. Well, the energy companies, they're not going to help you find any way to lower that consumption. I mean, why should they? It's not in their best interest to help you save money. They want you to keep using as much as you can. That way, they make more money. They're not in the business to help you lower your energy costs or to help you find ways to have smart opportunities within your hotel to minimize energy consumption. They have one focus: to get you to use as much of it as you possibly can. So here's the obvious problem with this scenario. How can you expect to realistically lower your costs and increase your profits if you're still using energy in the same old way? Well, the answer is simple. If you want to actually have a better chance of improving your profits, how you use and manage energy has to evolve. And that's the thing. Energy services have evolved, but sadly, your hotel just has not kept up. Let me show you where your money's going. Energy continues to be a cash-crunching part of your business. If you're like the average hotel, just under 24% of your energy consumption is going to water or sewage and waste removal. A little over 10% is being used for gas or some type of fuel. Maybe about 5.5%, roughly in that area, is used for other types of energy sources. Could be steam, could be a variety of other things, maybe even some solar. Now here's where things get interesting. On average, 60% of your energy consumption costs is being used for electricity. That's a staggering sum. On average, 6% of your revenues are being used to pay for the energy and utilities throughout your hotel. 6%. Why are you still paying so much for energy when you don't have to? Bottom line here is, if you really are serious about getting your profits higher, you must first understand that how you're handling all of your energy services It's obsolete for today's economy. You must evolve how you consume and manage your energy services if you want to have any chance of any realistic hope of lowering your costs and have long-term profitable growth. Energy has evolved. Hotel strategy number 2. Before you innovate, you have to renovate. What does that mean? Well, it means that smart energy use, well, that is now. It's not a fad. It's not going to go away. This is the future, and it's here today. Even the most efficient energy system is still going to cost your hotel more money than it should if your staff is not treating energy consumption wisely. How your staff views and treats energy use is probably one of the most important steps in getting your costs under control. It's the bedrock of making all of this work. Your staff's limiting beliefs about energy use, and you know what I mean. Things like they say, well, who cares? It's just electricity or water and gas. I don't have to pay for it. Why should I watch my energy use or care if anybody else does? No one is going to pay attention to what I turn off a light or use this or crank up the heat. I'm not a tree hugger. I'm not going to walk around trying to worry about what the energy is being used by this hotel. All this stuff is just nonsense. Those are limiting beliefs. Some of your staff actually has those beliefs running through their head, and they're keeping your hotel in the financial prison of paying way too much for energy. You got to tackle this head on. To help your staff see the value and importance of playing a part in your hotel's energy management, it starts with educating them about how it will benefit them. Announcing an energy savings strategy target encourages your team to participate. It gives them a sense of purpose, a sense of pride. Some of the savings that you'll enjoy through this initiative can benefit your employees and your staff through other things you can do for them. Maybe it's higher wages. Maybe it's higher bonuses. Maybe it's better amenities for them. And the list goes on and on. Now, here's the thing. This takes conditioning. Bad energy habits are the very, very hard things for people to break. They leave lights on in empty areas, or they crank up the heat or air conditioning to some ridiculous or unreasonable level. And maybe they use way more water that is needed to handle any task that they need to do. So you've got to consistently condition your staff to see energy waste as basically an enemy. It's a dragon that they have to slay. Everybody has to do it together. It can't be something that you hope the thermostat takes care of or some new device takes care of. Your staff has to be involved to help you curb energy consumption. It's all in the mindset. All of these gears have got to be turning together. Your staff has to use energy wisely. If something doesn't need to be on, well, then make sure it's not on. Everybody who works together, and they do it in small steps. This is how you create and sustain momentum. And they got to be in it to win it. You need to make your vision very clear. You can't just walk in one day, install a new thermostat, and hope to goodness that solves your problems. Your staff has got to be on board, and they need to see it's a target that they need to help you hit. And only when you have all of these gears working in unison are you going to be able to succeed in any kind of new energy initiative. Here's the bottom line. You need to ensure that your culture or your company's beliefs are congruent with the outcome that you're seeking. And you need to identify and replace your staff's limiting beliefs about intelligent energy use so they properly align with the goal that you've got of reducing costs. Having new equipment or upgraded equipment, it can only do so much. Part of the obstacles that you're going to have of achieving your goals with this is you got to get your people to be on board. They're going to be the key factor in getting your hotel on the right track to better profitability. Hotel energy strategy number 3, see the light. The easiest and probably fastest step in reducing your energy costs is often the one that's most overlooked. And it's overlooked because it's just so simple and it's just so obvious. It's one of those things where it's been staring you in the face the whole time and it's been hiding in plain sight. And yet amazingly, too many hotels have still yet to do this one yet very simple thing. Do you know what it is? Get rid of those incandescent bulbs. Switch to LEDs. Like right now. Incandescent lighting is dead. Those old incandescent bulbs that you've got scattered throughout your hotel, they drain. They just drain too much energy. And if you want a translation for that, that means it's just wasting too much money. Every one of them has got to be replaced with an LED. And this one simple step, just this one thing, can alone lower your energy costs by thousands of dollars each and every year. But the strategy doesn't end there. You can't just swap out all the LED bulbs. I mean, you've got to have lighting sensors for daylight harvesting. You need to have occupancy sensors in your hotel rooms themselves. Supply light to spaces only when they're appropriate. That way things are not always on. If they're always on, then they burn out faster. And every time something is left on, it's just the clock is ticking and that electricity meter is running. Wireless sensors, they can help accomplish all of this without having to do something invasive, like running a wire through a wall. I mean, that just sounds ugly. You don't have to do that. Here's a good, smart way to help get a handle on your electricity costs. Using LED lighting and using wireless sensors in every part of your hotel lowers costs fast. And I mean fast. How does it work? Well, they're environmentally friendly. They last 3 to as much as 25 times longer than an incandescent bulb. I mean, just that alone should help you see what the numbers would look like. They emit less heat. Now that comes in handy if you've got lights that are on during months where you need it to be cool inside and it's blazing hot outside. Less heat, the better. They only need to be on when they're needed and when it's appropriate. If you don't need to have a light on, don't have it on. That's where the wireless sensors can come into play. LEDs lose 20 to 80% less energy than incandescents. I mean, think about that. 20 to 80% less energy? Just think of the money that you're wasting there. And they provide better and crisper lighting. Now think about that. These are not the old LEDs that you thought when they first came out. These have evolved. In fact, you've probably been surrounded by LED bulbs in some of the stores or the restaurants and other places that you've gone and you didn't even know it. Now this is a hotel lighting solution that actually makes sense. The bottom line, LED lighting is here. It's now. Embrace it. Don't get caught up in the failed mindset that LED lighting is just not as good as incandescent lighting. Those days are long gone. LED lighting is just as good, and if not better, than traditional incandescents. Think about it. You wouldn't drive a car that gets only 6 miles to the gallon, would you? Well, then why the heck are you still using lighting that is just wasting electricity? Think about that. Hotel energy strategy number 4. Plug your leaks. Your daily water use and the waste that it's coming from, it's actually pretty scary. The average hotel wastes 40% of the water it pays for every month. And the primary sources of this waste comes from just inefficient laundry facilities or some kind of inefficient laundry process and system, and leaks in bathrooms, like from faucets or toilets. You're literally flushing thousands of dollars down the drain each and every year. Water, well, it's expected to become more and more expensive with each passing year. And those old or antiquated toilets are keeping your water costs 4 to as much as 5 times higher than they should be. It comes from leaks. It comes from too many gallons per flush. It comes from processes that are being used to help run the water to the toilets that can be maximized. And outdated and inefficient laundry equipment, well, that can also keep your costs as much higher than they need to be. In fact, almost double what you should be paying. Now think about this. Water is quickly on its way to becoming one of the most expensive commodities on the planet. There's only so much to go around. And each year, water is going to continue to become more and more expensive. Your guests that are not properly using the water that you provide for them, like for showers or in the toilet or even through the faucets in their sinks, they're not going to properly take the initiative in order to manage those properly. You're going to have to do it for them. Those laundry machines that you've got, those are a money pit. It's a money drain if they're not energy efficient and if they're not being used properly. Upgrading your laundry machines can reduce your water costs by as much as 50%, but maximizing your load sizes effectively can also reduce costs quickly. Now, stick with me here. Let me walk you through this. Which makes more sense? Now think about this. Which makes more sense? Using 3 to 4 gallons per toilet per flush, or using 1.5 gallons per toilet per flush? Well, if you're paying for the water, of course 1.5 gallons per toilet per flush seems a heck of a lot more sensible. By using an efficient toilet system throughout your hotel, you can literally cut your wastewater costs in half or more instantly. So stick with me here. So far, we have saved money just by upgrading our toilets. Filling a laundry machine 85% to capacity, or filling a laundry machine 60% to capacity. Well, I think this should be an obvious answer. 85%. By maximizing, but not overloading, your laundry machine capacity, it reduces the daily load quantity, and less water and energy are used each day to do your laundry. Now again, you might be shaking your head saying, well, that's obvious. Yeah, it might be obvious, but so few hotels actually do it. If you go take a look at what's actually being done in your laundry room, I think you would be shocked to see just how much money is being wasted on water to run laundry equipment when it's only partially filled. Which makes more sense? Using unheated water to do your laundry or using hot water to do your laundry? Well, I think most of us would think that hot water gets things cleaner, right? No, wrong. All that old mantra that we've all probably had, there's always hope with hot water and soap. That's a myth that's given way to what modern chemical and even polymer-based laundry machines that can help clean towels, clean your linens, and they get it done right, but without having to use hot water. So that way, you don't have to constantly heat water to supply those machines. You're not heating water. You're not spending the money to heat the water. You keeping up? You see where this is adding up to? Yep, the times they are changing. Do you still use a rotary phone to make calls? Or how about using the Pony Express, maybe to send a letter? I know, you still get up and you change the channels manually on the front of your television, right? Of course you don't. Well, if you don't do those things, why on earth are you still using an antiquated toilet in your hotel? Why on earth are you still using laundry machines that are old or outdated? Or maybe shower heads that are not effective? The bottom line here is water is literally making your profits slowly but steadily leak away. By making some very simple yet effective changes in your hotel about how you use water, along with upgrading the equipment responsible for that use, leaks can be plugged and your hotel can be on its way to Profit Street. Okay. Hotel energy strategy number 5. Get the right controls. When it comes to meeting and exceeding customers' expectations in the hotel industry, making excellent accommodations and services available to your guests, it's expected. Well, these expectations focus particularly on the ability of the guest to capably modify the accommodation environments in which they're in. That way they can make their rooms as comfortable as they want. They can turn the lights on to make them feel more comfortable, and on it goes. They have to have the ability to do that themselves. So what that translates to you, your guests want the room to be warm or cool. They want it bright or dark. They want it quiet or maybe loud, or whatever it is they feel is necessary to make their stay more enjoyable, whether they're staying 1 day or 1 month. Well, this, of course, obviously means that you need to have an environmental control system in each room that allows for your guests to customize their stay. And you already know this, but here's the catch. This can get out of hand really, really fast. Demand charges, this is where things can get really nasty. Demand charges are just burning up the bottom line of hotel profits. Now, you know what those are, of course. Demand charges are those pesky fees that you pay during peak electrical usage times. And these things can represent 30 to 40% of your total electric bill. Yikes, that's a staggering sum. And to make matters even worse, if your hotel is participating in some kind of demand response program, the ability that you have to control demand is even more important. Otherwise, you can just be heavily penalized for failing to meet your demand response obligations when a demand response event is called. Tell me if this sounds familiar. Tell me if any of this sounds like deja vu to you. A guest checks in. They go to their hotel room and they unpack. Then they turn up the heat or they crank up the air conditioning. And then they leave. They take off to go shopping or hit the local restaurants or go see the sites, whatever it might be. And they're gone for several hours. During that entire time, their room is being heated or cooled and it's empty. You're paying for that. You're paying to heat or cool an empty room. This is also referred to as ghosting, and it's expensive. Even worse, if this stuff happens during a demand peak period, your costs really skyrocket. Okay, so your guests, they want to control the climate in their own rooms. You want to minimize costs to avoid peak demand charges as much as you possibly can. And your guests are not going to show any remorse if they come into the room and crank up the heat or crank up the air conditioning in their rooms, even if they're not in them. In fact, they'll even leave the lights on. So what's the solution? How do you fix this problem? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. It's a demand management system. A modern demand management control system works at tracking your peak electric usage, and it implements a strategy to maintain and lower the demand charges. So it does the hard work for you by properly managing your demand usage, and it leverages the best savings you can get. So here's what it does. A good demand management system sustains guest comfort, but it manages the room climates when they're unoccupied. That way you're not heating or cooling an empty room. They intelligently manage your consumption, so they maximize usage at off-peak times. And they monitor it daily, constantly, even hourly, so you can essentially bank energy when you need it, so you can access it when it's needed, but get it at a lower cost. It reduces, even eliminates, the demand response program penalty fees. That way you don't get really whacked around by paying too much for energy. And it factors in things like the seasons, what your geography is, factors in weather. That way it streamlines your energy use, but simultaneously getting your costs lower. And finally, it never allows for blackouts or brownouts or peak demands to negatively impact the guest experience. As far as they're concerned, all this is transparent. They don't even know any of this is going on. Now, think about this. It's just silly for you to pay for heating or cooling an empty room, including rooms that are not vacant, but in which the guest is temporarily left and just sits empty for hours at a time. So if you add an automated control system that detects room occupancy, all this overuse of energy to heat and cool those vacant rooms can be profoundly reduced. And then, particularly if this is during a demand response period, you reduce or even eliminate all those extra fees. Think about how much money that's going to put back in your pocket. Also, here's a couple of other low-hanging fruit things that you can do for demand response. Install motion sensors. Put them in your hallways. Put them in your common restrooms. Turn them on only when there's movement, and then they turn off when there is none. Same thing for your kitchens, same thing for your laundry rooms, same thing for all your staff areas. This is a minuscule time investment to make happen, and it is a very profound impact. Little things mean a lot. Train your kitchen staff to reduce their preheating time to 15 minutes or less before any appliance is needed for use. Believe it or not, this one thing can save as much as 60% in kitchen energy costs alone. That's a staggering sum. And I had to double check that to make sure that number is right. Think about that. All you have to do is preheat things 15 minutes or less before they're actually going to need it, instead of preheating an oven and letting it sit there for hours at a time. Put auto timers in your saunas and your steam rooms. That way they automatically shut off rather than just allow them to keep running until some staff member comes along and turns it off. Book rooms in clusters. That way you can boost your overall efficiency of energy. Start with your lower floors. Corner rooms and all those rooms on the upper floors, they're the hardest to heat and they're the hardest to cool. So try to do your best to leave those for last. Try not to lead or both heating and cooling systems at the same time. This is a common mistake we see in a lot of hotels. When external temperatures are higher than 70 degrees, turn off your heat. Nobody needs heat when it's above 70 degrees. And don't use air conditioning when temperatures outside are below 40 degrees. It just doesn't make any sense to have those operating. During winter, book more rooms on the sun-facing side and do the opposite in the summer. This will reduce the need that you have for heating or air conditioning, respectively. That blazing sun will come through that window. Curtains are open during the winter. It'll help heat that room. You don't have to use so much heat. Same thing for the summer. If it's a blazing hot summer, why would you book people in the blazing hot sun? And all they have to do is keep their air conditioning cranked in order to offset that. Put them on the other side. While these tips, I'm sure you're looking at these saying, wow, these sound obvious. Chances are you're not doing most or even any of them. Demand controls are highly effective solutions for managing your energy consumption, but they work best when they're combined with some simple steps that cumulatively add up, and they add up fast. Hotel energy strategy number 6. Work with a leader. All right. Probably if you stuck with me so far at this point, you're shaking your head saying, okay, I get it. I totally understand. I understand all this energy stuff, but the whole thing is just frustrating. I mean, I'm just frustrated with the whole thing. One of the biggest problems that we see with the hotels that we work with all across America, our owners or even management staff are just simply confused and maybe even frustrated with all this noise that they keep hearing about we need to save money on energy. You already know that the power companies are never going to assist you with this. And there is no shortage of experts out there who all sound great, but do they really have the ability to actually help you get the results that you want? After a while, you just kind of reach a point where you just want to throw up your hands and say, you know what, I give up. I give up hoping that there is a better way. Well, there is a better way. You can lower your energy costs, and you can do it faster than you probably thought was ever possible. And you can end all your energy upgrade frustrations that have been haunting you. You just need the right partner. That's what's missing. You need the right partner who can help you get it done. Well, all right, okay. Sounds good, right? But you've probably already previously looked at upgrading your energy infrastructure, but the overall costs have kept you from actually doing it. Or maybe some of the companies you've looked at tried to lease you equipment that over time would lower your energy costs and someday give you a strong return on investment. But it required you to add debt to your balance sheet or even worse, get into some kind of long-term equipment lease. You love the idea of energy efficiency, but the projected return on investment, it just hasn't been big enough to justify you making this a priority. You'll get to it when you get to it. You've hired more than one energy expert. Maybe you already have a guy, and he or she has conducted an energy audit of your hotel, and they made some good recommendations in the process. But once again, you still have to write a large check to get those recommendations put into action, which, well, puts you right back where you started. And all this constant talk of energy savings, it's gone from a good idea to just a major headache. And now it's just something that, you know what, you don't even want to deal with it. I mean, you know you should. And even though you think you should get this taken care of, it's just a hassle. It's become a headache. Okay, Now, imagine if your local electric company or your local gas utility, they came to you and they said, look, here's what we'll do. We'll provide on-site upgrades of your lighting, your HVAC controls, your walk-in coolers, everything you've got. We'll do it without you having to incur any debt. You don't have to make any investment whatsoever. We will provide the capital for the upgrade. And we will also include all the ongoing maintenance. Oh, and by the way, you save money on the energy bill starting from day one. Imagine if they came to you and said that. You'd sign up instantly for that, wouldn't you? I mean, who wouldn't? Okay, so you know that you need to upgrade, and you know it makes sense. And you know that doing so, it's essential if you've got any hopes of growing your profits. But it's the capital expenditure that you need to make those upgrades that's stopping you. Well, and I'm guessing that's why 2018 is just going to be another year where energy savings is not again in your operating budget. Okay, now here's the catch. Sadly, your utility companies, they're not going to ever help you with this problem. It's just not in their business model. Why would they ever help you upgrade your hotel so you can lower your energy costs when their whole business model is based on you spending as much money on their services as much as you can? Think about that. Well, chances are you're familiar with the as-a-service industry. As a service appears everywhere, right? You've seen it as software. Companies like Salesforce, even Google Apps, all that is software as a service. You're familiar with transportation as a service, Uber and Lyft. You're even familiar with infrastructure as a service, like Amazon's web services, and there's so many more out there. Service companies allow you to plug in and access their services immediately, and it's entirely consumption-based, meaning you only pay for what you use, rather than committing to functionality and capabilities that may or maybe not ever need to be used. And it's scalable, infinitely scalable. You can increase or decrease what you need instantly just based on your demands. In fact, if you think about it, utilities are the original as-a-service program. They require no investment for you to use them. You just connect and start utilizing it. You don't have to buy a power plant. You just buy the energy as you go. But, and there's a big but, like we pointed out earlier, the utility companies have a business model that only works if you use as much of their energy as possible. And they're never going to help you install or upgrade anything that will help you use less of their product. Now, what do? How do you fix this vicious cycle? Well, now, finally, there is a solution that solves all of these problems and it actually makes sense. And it's called energy savings as a service. What is energy savings as a service? Well, with the energy savings as a service model, you get everything in your hotel upgraded so you can immediately achieve the most efficient and effective energy savings possible. And best of all, it's done for you with zero out-of-pocket cost. There is no equipment to buy or lease. You don't have any debt attached to you or your business. All you do is enjoy the savings. And here's how it works. We upgrade your entire hotel with the proper equipment to help get your energy costs as low as possible. You pay nothing out of pocket. Nothing. We absorb all the costs. You don't lease anything. You don't have to finance anything. You don't even have to incur any debt whatsoever of any kind. And you get an immediate positive savings right from day one. We handle all the maintenance and all the support for zero cost. All you do is enjoy the savings. How on earth is this possible? How are we able to do this? Why on earth are we even willing to do this? Well, the answer actually is quite simple. We benefit from a small portion of the ongoing monthly energy savings that we're going to help you get. There it is. Understanding this whole process will set you free. You'll tip the financial scales in your favor in ways that you probably never even imagined when you use energy savings as a service. You get all the upgrades to your infrastructure. It's done for you by our expert staff, and there's nothing out of pocket. There is no debt of any kind whatsoever. Your savings starts instantly, and we handle all the maintenance at our cost. This is how energy use is supposed to be. This is how it's supposed to be. And if you're not utilizing this now, you're just letting the train pass you by. Finally, the brilliant as-a-service model, it's made its way to energy savings. In less time than it takes for you to watch a bad movie, you can tap into everything that we've shown you here today, and you never even have to leave your office. What's your target profit margin? What's the number that'll change it all for you? What is the number that you're shooting for that you would like to see your hotel generate in profits? Well, take that number, subtract it from the actual profits that your hotel generated last month. And the difference between those two numbers, that's the difference and the number that you're losing each month. And you're losing it because you're still paying for the energy that you have right now in the old and expensive way. This is your tuition to the college of overpaying, and you're paying it every month. Knowing all this, it's only the beginning. Having all this knowledge, it's great, but it doesn't mean anything unless you actually do something about it. So to get to where you want to go, you have to get away from where you are now. There's just simply no other way. And the first step of the starting block determines your entire journey. So here's the big question. Are you ready to finally do something about this? Okay, it's note-taking time. Here's what you need to win. Learn that energy solutions have evolved. The old way of paying for energy is dead. Overhaul your staff's beliefs about energy consumption. They got to be on board, and you got to start watching and managing how your staff utilizes the energy in your hotel. You got to upgrade to a modern platform and a framework. The antiquated and aged system you have right now is likely causing a monstrous financial drain on your bottom line. Start by using a smart solution to manage your energy use. Everything that can be managed is something that you have to oversee and do it automatically. And the most important part of that is energy. Work with somebody who's a leader. Work with somebody who will help guide you the right way to get to your obligations and your goals. And commit to take action to get it done. You can't be kind of pregnant. You can't be kind of committed. You either are or you're not. And only until you commit to actually make this done will you be able to achieve the financial goals that you have. Now, if you had a process like this, if you did all of those things, how much faster do you think you could reach your target profit margins? Well, now you've got a choice. You can do nothing, or you can actually try to do something to improve it. Here's how we can help you. My team and I have set aside some time over the next 72 hours to speak with you personally about how your hotel might qualify for this new energy savings as a service program. Whatever your biggest energy challenges are, chances are we've experienced it ourselves, and we know exactly how to help you overcome it. We'll have a conversation with you, and during that conversation, we'll look at your current energy strategy, and then we'll help identify what, if anything, you can do to immediately reduce your costs. Only if we are confident we can help you, we will deploy a step-by-step plan for you to finally get your energy costs lower and help you hit your profit goals. And if for some reason we don't think we can help you, or it's not a good fit for you or for us, well, we're still going to help you, and we'll still give you a solid guidance and help you the best way we can to put you on the right track. And the cost for us to do this, it's absolutely free. That's right. It is absolutely free to have this conversation with us. But this is not for everybody. You must be a hotel owner, a stakeholder in a hotel, or an authorized financial officer somebody who has a viable decision-making capacity about the energy services that are being used by your hotel. And you must be absolutely committed to reaching your energy savings goals right now and having your company's best interests at the center of everything that you do. If that's you, and you believe that this is something that you qualify for, well, the next step, it's easy and it's free. Right now below, you should see a button that allows you to click on it, and when you do, it'll take you to a calendar. And in that calendar, you can schedule a conversation with us. Now, I have to tell you, our spaces fill up very quickly. We have a lot of demand for what we're doing, and we're very diligent in trying to speak to anybody who contacts us and wishes to have that conversation. So please, don't delay. Click below, schedule a conversation with us, and let's have a conversation about how we can help you reach the profits that you want for your business. Okay, well, that wraps it up for us. We've gone a little bit farther than I had originally anticipated, so thanks for sticking with us. Click on that button below, schedule a conversation with us, and we look forward to speaking with you. Okay, well, that wraps it up. We'll look forward to talking with you soon. Don't forget, schedule a conversation with us while we still have opportunities to do so, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay, thanks.